I have a proposition I'd like to discuss with you. I've chartered an airplane to fly us over Isla Sorna, and we'd like you to be our guide. We'd love to make a contribution to your research here.
It could almost be paradise.
My God, I'd forgotten.
We have a landing strip up ahead.
You cannot land on this island.
Oh my God!
But in this forbidden place, where man has tampered with nature,
This is how you make dinosaurs?
This is how you play God.
something unexpected has evolved.
They can talk to each other.
To a degree we never imagined.
On July 18th,
You probably won't get off this island alive.
it's not just a walk in the park.
They set a trap. They actually set a trap.
This week on Ranked and Reviewed, we review Jurassic Park 3. Hello and welcome back to Ranked and Reviewed, where we are doing a very interesting fucking movie right now. So if you don't know what we're doing right now, we're doing all the Jurassic Park movies. I am your host, Tomye West, and joining me as always is my co-host, ALANNIS Maximus.
Hello.
So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share. It would help us out a lot. And as I said, we are today. Whoa! Alan has gone missing.
I saw it falling. I went to stop it, and then it fell. There we go. I'm back.
Hey, man, that's some quality content. So whatever, we're keeping it in. That's how we roll. That's how we fucking roll. So anyway, as I was about to say, we're doing Jurassic Park 3. And this is leading up to the release of the new movie, Jurassic World Dominion, in June. So we are doing a Jurassic Park movie each week up until the new movie releases in June. So how are you feeling about all this so far, Alan?
I'm enjoying it. This is actually the last Jurassic Park movie I've seen, so everything else is new grounds for me.
I'm really excited to get into fucking the World movies with you to see what you think, because as I said, like, I really like the first two. The two of Jurassic World, except for some parts or whatever. But I still want to see if your thoughts are with Jurassic World, that it feels like a Force Awakens, where they kind of rehashed the old shit but made it really nostalgic. So everyone was like, "Oh, it's pretty good." You know what I mean? So I guess we'll wait and see what you think of it. But as I said, for now, we're doing Jurassic Park 3. And yeah, I'm just going to change this so it's a little bit more in tune. There we go. That's nice. All right. So, yeah.
Feels like yesterday, and that scares me.
Yeah, man. 2001. So the Sydney Olympics was 2000, yeah?
That's right.
Yeah. So I was like pretty young, man. I was primary school.
I would have been 17 or 18.
I would have been like 12. So yeah, interesting, man. With that, we'll get straight into it. We'll get into the overview. So this movie is obviously Jurassic Park 3, 2001. That's when it was released. It's rated PG-13. It goes for a short hour and 32 minutes. Short, fucking hell, man. We'll get into that. Short, an hour and 32 minutes. It gets a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb, which, if you're asking me, well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Director, Joe Johnson. Writers, Michael Crichton, apparently. And apparently he's one of the characters in this one, man. Peter Butchman and Alexander Payne. And it stars Sam Neill, William H. Macy, and Tia Leone. Now,
your friend.
Now, before I get into my thoughts, actually, before we get into any of our thoughts, we should probably give a quick rundown of what this what the plot is, I guess. So Sam Neill, Alan Grant, is still teaching stuff about dinosaurs, going around. He's written some books or whatever. And he's about to run out of funding. And suddenly he gets fucking presented by these rich folk, come up and offer him the chance of a lifetime to earn whatever money he wants by taking him on a flyover tour of one of the islands of Isla Sorna, Isla Nuba, one of them. I can't remember, Nubla, whatever. And they get there and they decide to land because they're not there to do a flyover tour. They're there to find their son who went missing when he went paragliding or whatever the fuck he did over the island with his new stepdad. And then they land and he finds out these rich people aren't rich and he has been drugged to the island to find his kid and that's the only reason. And his whole aim is to get off the island. Now, that's a breakdown of the plot. I can't be bothered going into deeper specifics because I'm sure we will when we go into our thoughts. So, yeah. Do you think that was a good idea of the plot? Like a good...
Yeah, a reasonable idea.
Yeah, cool. All right. So with that, let's get straight into it with our thoughts. Alan, thoughts?
It was a movie with dinosaurs.
Certainly was.
I think it when it's good, it has some really good points, and I legitimately enjoy Sam Neill. So I think he's one of the things that kept me watching it, even in the cringy moments. I'm like, I like Sam Neill.
Yes. Well, I'll do it later on because I don't want to spoil all my thoughts in one go. Yeah. But this is the most notes I've ever took for one of these ranked and reviews because I really wanted to drive home the point of this movie that I fucking hate. So, my thoughts on Alan? Good. That's literally what I wrote in my notes for Alan. Good. And just as an example of what my notes sound like, it says characters. Alan, good. Tia Leone, bad. So that's kind of how my list goes. So you like Alan Grant, which is, I agree he was all right, but I still think there was parts in this that I'm going to get into that I fucking hated from him. Like, okay, I'll just get into one quickly right now, which is that so I wrote the fact that he looks at one nest of Velociraptor eggs, looks at another one, looks at another one, and then looks at another one, and then looks at the camera and goes, raptors. I fucking, dude, it was so corny, some of the dialogue in this fucking movie.
What about that he suddenly knew how to project wind the correct way through a 3D printed voice box of a raptor to call for help?
I didn't even think about that one, man.
The line was pretty much exactly, call for help. And he's like, right away, I know how to do that.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Getting into the Velociraptors a little bit more, because I wrote this down. The Velociraptors are barely relevant in this movie, except for the fact of the egg thing. They don't need to be there. And they look terrible 90% of the time. Terrible. And even when they're puppets, they look terrible because of the direction of the puppets. Like the part when the Velociraptor turns its head and looks at the camera and it just looks like it's going...
like one of those clowns, man. No.
And then the fucking bit that actually made me audibly go, get fucked, because I forgot about it, was when they're in the tree and they think that Udesky is fucking dead, and then these Velociraptors manage to make this guy's arm move when they're not even near the body. What, did they tie string to this motherfucker's arm and sit there going, dude, what the fuck? How did they make that arm move? It was stupid. It was fucking stupid. So, I mean, again, Billy, he sucks. He is such a shit character for this series, like terrible, that, spoiler alert, he nearly dies, but he doesn't. And they should have just fucking kept that guy dead because he never comes back in the future sequels. He is not relevant. Just kill him. Like, he was shit in the movie. He took that fucking egg from the Velociraptor's nest. Dumbass. Like, there's so many fucking things I hate about this movie, man, and I'm not even scratching the surface. Listen to how fucking mad I'm getting right now talking about this. Like, I feel like I just got into an argument with somebody that I hate because I'm that against this movie. So, give me your thoughts on the dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're yeah. I like some of the inclusions I like just because I particularly like those dinosaurs, like Ankylosaurus, things like that. It's pretty nifty to see them in there. But they don't look as good. I think probably the worst effects in this movie out of the first trilogy. I think they
Terrible.
Yeah, which is weird. I also found it interesting that they kind of, I reckon they low-key had that question at the end of the second movie, how there's the pterodons or whatever, or pterodactyls or whatever they are. And as we said last week, how like, why aren't they flying away? And it seems like they tried to kind of answer that by having them in the birdcage. But then in the end of that movie, they're fucking flying away again. It's like, why do you keep doing this?
What did you think of the Spinosaurus? Because I wrote down, looks terrible CG-wise. So probably 90% of the shots this fucking thing is in, except for when they use like practical puppets, it looks fucking garbage. And it really adds not a lot to the movie that they could have just done with the T-Rex. And I feel like it was a cash grab for toys and selling products and being like, this time it's bigger. And it's like, bigger doesn't always mean necessarily better.
No,
you know what I mean?
I like it in the sense of that it was something different. Like it wasn't just the T-Rex again. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not too sure how I'd feel if they just kept the T-Rex or with the, so changing it up in one way, I liked it, but it didn't, as you said, it didn't look great. And it was definitely kind of a cash grab there as well. Which I mean, I feel with Giganto or whatever it's called, they're kind of doing with this new movie, Dominion. I feel that's history repeating itself a little bit. They're going, it's bigger.
Yep. So, also, the T-Rex, barely useful in this movie as well. Like, only reason he was there was to get killed by the fucking Spinosaurus. The other dinosaurs, like, there's barely any in the movie except for the pterodactyl, the Spinosaurus, the T-Rex, and the Velociraptors. There's like that herd of fucking, are they Ankylosauruses or whatever they're called?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, is that brief? I think Allosaurus. It kind of goes near the one near the Spinosaurus shit, and he's like, and then buggers off. So to me, I feel that they could have left the Spinosaurus in the background and then have that dinosaur chasing them. Like, yeah, it's smaller than a T-Rex. It's smaller than the Spinosaurus, but it's still a big fucking meat-eating dinosaur. Like,
and what was weird, that dinosaur that just was it the Spinosaurus or not? No, it was another dinosaur that fucking just looks at him and walks away.
Yeah, that one. I'm pretty sure it was meant to be an Allosaurus, which is like
fucking dumb as, man.
Yeah.
So stupid. Like, and all right, let's get into Eric. Sucks. He sucks. Like, dude, there's no way that a 13-year-old or whatever he was supposed to be lands on an island filled with dinosaurs and makes it however long he was there, let alone a day. Like, bro, come on. If I sent my son, who's 9, in 3 more years or 4 more years to an island of dinosaurs, my son's not going to be fucking picking up gas grenades and fucking being like, dude, biggest fucking joke of a plot point hole that they've got in this movie, and it's because of lazy writing. They can't be fucked explaining it. Is the I can say it every line for line. You ready? Be careful, T-Rex. What, you're saying this is T-Rex Piss? Yes. It scares away the little ones, but it draws a big one with a big fin. How did you get this? You don't want to know. Yeah, because you can't come up with anything to... What was he couldn't have stood under a T-Rex and got the piss. He couldn't have dug it out of a fucking pothole of mud with it and it being that clear. Like, there was no answer for it. And that's what I hated in this movie, is the little, like, fuck it. Just put in a joke. You don't want to know. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We do want to know, man. Like, the other ones I've got here is, the bit that makes me so mad is when they reach the power, like the little dinosaur, the run down fucking shitty dinosaur labs. They get there. She goes, what the hell? And picks up the phone like it's gonna fucking... Who's still supplying power to this island? Like, who's sending the bit? Like, and then this guy he pulls out his cash like he's gonna use the ATM machine, like not the ATM, the food machines, but those are run on power too. So that joke is already out the window. And then they fuck it even more by just smashing it and getting the chips out and showing him like, oh, you're an idiot. But no, he's not, because you're all idiots. Like, you know what I mean? This whole story's idiotic. Like, I can't even begin to like explain. Like, the vending machine thing pissed me off. There's barely any dialogue in this movie. I don't know if you noticed that. And it's all like, I wrote barely any music, barely any dialogue. If not for music and sound effects, make it black and white and it would have looked like a silent movie from the 30s. And then I wrote, the dinosaurs look about as good as they could have made that era too. So, like, the dialogue is lazy. There's more fucking, like, imagine writing this script, and I said it the best last night to Cody, yeah? Which was like, the people that wrote this script, it was almost like they were children smashing their dinosaur toys together and being like, and then the T-Rex was like, "Meow," and then a plane comes in like, "Meow." Like, it's just fucking like, dude, like, there's like, it's literally like, if they would have written a script, it would have been, the dinosaur runs after them. They run. She screams. Da, da, da. There was so little dialogue and thought put into the whole of this movie. And spoiler alert for, like, my thoughts on this movie before I keep going. Yeah, I fucking hate this movie, man. Like, I fucking hate it, dude. And I have written terrible movie, terrible script, terrible characters, and won't ever subject myself to this fucking movie again. I'd rather watch The Batman 5 times in a row, and that movie wasn't bad, but was too long. And for that reason, it's not the best. So, that's my thoughts, my overall thoughts of this movie, man. Like,
but how many times would you watch Batman and Robin in a row rather than this?
Oh, man. I'd prefer that, actually. This movie I'll never watch again, and I fucking mean it, bro. Like, I found it offensive, this movie, because Jurassic Park plays such an important role in my childhood. And this movie, I just feel like, shits on the legacy of Jurassic Park. And you know what? Say what you want about the Jurassic World movies when you watch them, or people that do have seen them, but it is nowhere on the level of this fucking bad. Like, spoiler alert, like, there's no even reason hiding it. I'm fucking putting this last on my ranking.
Oh, sorry, man. Helen? Hey, George. Oh, wait, sorry. Can't even work on my own phone here. This crazy thing just keeps going off.
I'm just doing this, man.
Hey, George. Sorry, 1 second. George. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't work out how to use my phone, but no, that's all right. I'll let him know. Cool. Mr. Clooney.
I hung myself.
Mr. Clooney called. He said checks in the mail for saying some good words about his Batman.
Tell Mr. Clooney that he would have won the Academy Award if that Batman movie had come out in the same year and these were up against each other. He would have won. So, I also, let's talk about Ali, because she was good. She was probably one of the best in the movie, and she was barely in it.
And
And
how the
it's
fuck
him.
did she get the army and the Marines though?
That's what I was gonna bring up. Was who did she fuck in the White House? Like, dude, when there's terrorist attacks, there's not even the fucking Navy being called out in droves like that for these fucking nobodies as well. You know what I
This
mean?
is like half a platoon of military. Like,
this movie is fucking offensive, man. There's no other way to put it. What else did I write? Tia Leone yelling kills me. Phone ringing makes me want to jump off the bridge. So, the same one that was used in Temple of Doom. And then I wrote, the ending is fucking terrible. Army/Navy/ Velociraptor's egg nonsense. And then I wrote, who the fuck did Ellie fuck to get the power to authorize the Navy for the 5 shit people on the island or whatever? So, basically, I've touched on all my thoughts on this movie because it's comically bad and offensive. And, yeah, I mean, was there anything else you liked about it?
not really. There's not many saving graces about this movie at all. It's like, as far as bad creature feature movies go, it's definitely not the worst I've seen. As far as Jurassic Park movies go, we'll see in a little bit, but it has no moments where I'm like, yeah, fuck, that was cool. Or it's not bad enough for me to turn around and go, oh, that was... It's not like Batman and Robin. It's not hammy where you're like, that was terrible, but it was so terrible, it was great. It was terrible trying to be good. Like...
it was so...
Yeah.
And, dude, as we said, as I said, I'd talk about this. An hour and 32 minutes was too long. I was like, dude, this movie can't have much longer to go. And I checked, and I was like, there's still 30 minutes? Like, that was the longest 60 minutes, bro. Like,
I felt it also kind of... It wrapped itself up super quick as well. Like, it kind of did all this stuff. Then it wasn't a powerful ending. It was just like, oh, there goes the dinosaur. Oh no, raptors! Like, that whole end raptor sequence with the fucking voice box. If they cut that out, it'll still be bad, but come on. Like,
what did you think about Billy taking the fucking egg like a dumb shit?
Like, do you know what happened if I 3D printed a raptor's voice box and blew through it? It would go... It's not how voice boxes and vocal cords work.
It's so silly, man. It's so... And, dude, another point, when they're running away from the velociraptors in that rundown Jurassic Park lab, and they get caught behind the fucking door, and then the velociraptor's like the dumb puppet goes and looks into the air like, oh, I can climb over the top or whatever. And then they're running away, and it starts calling for help, and instead of running, Sam Neill turns around and goes, they're learning or whatever. Like, he's asking for help, and it's like, just run, like, you know, like it.
And
I don't know, man.
Inconsistencies as well, like with the Spinosaurus. One scene, you see him smashing through this massive fucking metal fence. Then he's having trouble knocking around a plane and knocking around the boat thing. It's like, why doesn't he just smash it apart? What's happening here?
Dude. And oh man, there was another point I was gonna make. Like, the Velociraptor's like, that's it. There's you know the part when he's like running, like walking up to the tree, and the Velociraptor's there, and he hides behind the tree. That Billy dude or whatever. Watch that scene over again if you can, because all of this movie, a lot of the action scenes you can tell were shot super slow and have been sped up to help the CG tracking or something like that. So the part when he's hiding behind the tree and they track the shot and all that, dude, they would have been like action, and he would have gone like that, and then it's sped up and it looks like trash. The film is fucking, I don't know what they shot this movie on, but it looks fucking terrible. Like, the quality.
Oh, there's one line that I do like. The kind of, And some of them, even though it's sci-fi, it's always bugged me the inaccuracies with the dinosaurs. There's one almost throwaway line where Alan Grant goes, "They're not dinosaurs, they're monsters or whatever." That pretty much they're not how they were. I like that was acknowledged, and I hadn't noticed that other times that I've seen this movie. You always just kind of go, yeah, it's a sci-fi, but for them to actually go, yeah, and acknowledge that they don't really stick to how dinosaurs are was kind of cool.
Yeah, well, really, this is like such a bummer of a movie for the franchise that, like, if we're ranking and reviewing these movies, like, honestly, we didn't even have to do this movie because it just adds nothing to the franchise that's noteworthy. It adds nothing to Jurassic Park, like, lore. You know what I mean? It's all just like, it's basically noise. You know what I mean? This fucking movie. Did you have the same problem where the dialogue was very quiet in this movie, but the fucking sound effects were over the top loud? Because I had to keep fucking turning the volume up and down. Was that just like the copy I had, or was that a problem you had as well?
I found that as well. Yeah.
Like, and the sound effects are so egregiously loud that it was hurting my ears. Like, I had to keep adjusting my volume at the moment. Like, dude, I don't know, man. If I was to say, if you haven't seen this movie, to go check it out, no way. Like, no fucking way. Just watch number 1, watch 2, and then watch World. Like, you don't need to see this movie. No one does. And as I said, I'll never, ever watch this fucking movie ever again. And that's a vow. I don't care, man. Like, I don't care if I end up marrying Tia Leone and she's like, let's watch Jurassic Park 3 or some bullshit.
And then there's a life goal.
No way, man. As I said, her performance in this movie is atrocious. It's so shit. And, dude, William H. Macy is terrible in this movie as well. Like, they are the definition of a joke of character, as a joke. Like, these characters suck. Like, there's nothing likable about them. They're annoying, and they don't die. So we basically are stuck with these shitty characters through the whole movie, dude. If they had been more likable people or written to be more likable or whatever, this movie may not have been so bad. But because he's on an island for these people that you fucking hate, who dogged him out on the money and all these layers to it, it's like this movie is just not fun. Sam Neill and Ali are the only fun things about this movie, and Sam Neill's okay at best compared to his performance in number 1, and Ali is barely in the movie. So
I feel they killed the only watchable, like the 3. Well, they weren't even really mercenaries. Most of them died in the very start. I feel if they spread that out a little bit more, so you had some more interesting kills rather than just he got eaten, he got eaten, he got eaten. I feel I might have liked it a little bit more just based on the fact of they were a textbook kind of loser mercenary guys, which in a certain degree would have been entertaining. There might have been dialogue. Yeah,
I don't know, man. I have a feeling this may be one of our shortest ranked and reviewed episodes as well, along with this movie, because I've basically said all I can think to say about this movie, and I've gotten as mad as I could possibly get. And I don't know, man. Like, I just, like, if there's more to like about it or more to say, we'll go longer. But right now, like, I gave you the plot, I gave you what I hated about the movie, and I told you about the actors and the characters, and all of it's just bad. There's no more to say
remarkable about it. Like,
the only scene that kind of was interesting was, even though it included the shit dinosaur, was the bit when they're at night in the rain in that fucking creek or whatever with the Spinosaurus, and like, as annoying that phone bit is, or they're on the boat or whatever, and like all that, and he's underwater and the fucking fire and shit, like the gas had all that was interesting, but wasn't as good as like the RV bit in number 2, or wasn't as good as the Tyrannosaurus Rex in number 1, that whole giant scene, because that's the whole kind of part that I think they were trying to match a level of like sort of like scariness or, like an element of really true horror. And that was the only, and it wasn't good. It was just whatever. It was like, so. But you know what? Like, as much as I hate the Spinosaurus in this movie, I don't know if it's the worst dinosaur. Like, I like Jurassic World, and we'll talk about that more, obviously, when we get to it next week. But I don't really dig the new dinosaur in that movie that much either. So I'd have to watch it again because I haven't seen Jurassic World since maybe it first was released onto like Blu-ray or whatever. So it was like 2015 or some bullshit, So I haven't seen it for a long time. So I'd have to double check, but I think it's called the Indominus Rex. And it's like, whatever, I'm not going to spoil it, but I can't remember a lot of this movie. So I'm going to have to judge it again. But I can remember, I will tell you straight away that I definitely like that movie more than this movie. Don't know about the dinosaur though. So
another thing that confuses me overall with these movies, at least the first trilogy, is they have Isla Nublar or whatever it is, where the first movie set. Then they have this second island, and they're like, this is where the dinosaurs were nurtured and grown. But in the first movie, you see dinosaurs being nurtured and grown on the other island. It's like,
oh man, it's a shame, dude. It's a shame. But as I said, with the next movies, there's some really fucking awesome callbacks too to like the old movies where like there's an old part of the park I think they investigate, and there's like one of the Jeeps and shit from there and stuff. So like that's what this movie should have done in the first place, was like make you feel nostalgic for the original movie again. And all this movie did was hurt my head like nails on a chalkboard. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like it was the right amount of time to have that nostalgia as well. Like, it was nearly 10 years after the first one, like 8 years.
And that's what
It
everyone
could have
wants.
done that as well.
Everyone wants to go to these movies. It's the same with every movie, yeah? Everyone goes in wanting to like a movie that they're going to see. No one wants to shit on a movie. But especially with something loved like Jurassic Park, there should be a lot more love and care put into a script to make a worthwhile successor, or don't do it. You know what I mean? Because that movie, that first movie, is such a fucking good movie. It's a masterpiece, and it's such a big part of like pop culture, like now, that to even try and touch it is pointless unless you've got a good story to tell. And this was not a good story. This movie just was flat out bad.
I think it was a victim of its time as well, because like the early 2000s was when movies like this were pretty much like wham, pow, effects, action, no substance.
Yep.
So
Completely.
I think it was poor timing for it to be made as well, because that's what people thought people wanted, and it does not age well. Like, I think this and a lot of movies from this time age worse than movies from the early 90s, late 80s.
100%, dude. And it's because they don't use practical effects as much. They rely on computer-generated graphics. And the more computer-generated graphics they put into a movie, the more expensive it is, which means the less time they put into them and the less fucking love and detail they put into them, because they have to cram so much in a movie to get it done in time. Like, there's so many reasons why practical effects worked better in the 90s and things like that. And that's why Steven Spielberg insisted on it. And no wonder why Steven Spielberg didn't come back for this fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, we already read in a trivia last week from The Lost World that apart from Indiana Jones, The Lost World is the only sequel that Steven Spielberg has ever directed. And this is your answer why. Because you're not going to live up to the first one. And he already tried doing the second one and already talks about how much he fucking didn't really like that movie at the end of it, you know, like was disappointed in it. And so was like, no, I'm not doing this big fucking monster fest anymore. You know what I mean? So like, they should have like either tried to convince him to come back and get him to do a good job and get a good story written, rather than have the same dude who ran The Lost World into the ground, even though it wasn't that bad, right? The third movie. You know what I mean? Like, bring a fresh pair of eyes in, bring a good story to Steven Spielberg, and he won't turn it down. Steven Spielberg's not stupid. He's a director that wants to make money, but also wants to make good movies. And he does not want to make a bad movie that everyone wants to be good more than and means a lot more to people than a lot of other movies do. Like Jurassic Park means something to a lot of people. And brings a lot more to the table than a lot of other movies in the world. And to just release such a shitty movie for a franchise like this is really disappointing. So basically, that's our thoughts on this movie. I don't know if you want to go into any more depth on our thoughts about this movie because, as I said, we pretty much tore this movie's asshole apart, and it's just like beating a dead horse, man. You know?
Yeah, it's I've said it all, I think.
Exactly. So with that, we'll get into some trivia. What trivia are they going to have from this fucking... What boring trivia are they going to have from this boring fucking movie? The effects crew used 250 gallons of oatmeal to simulate Spinosaur droppings. Unnecessary. Oh my god, here we go. This is exactly what I mean by this movie should have never been made, this trivia fact. A few of the action sequences are borrowed from leftover ideas from the first two Jurassic Park movies, some of which were in the original scripts and made it as far as being storyboarded before they were scrapped due to time and budget restraints. These scenes included the Something Adon and riverboat sequences. So, these are leftover ideas from the first two movies that didn't make it in because they weren't important enough. Like, had they been important, they would have been in the movie, which means they weren't worth revisiting. It makes me so mad, bro, this movie. According to an interview with William H. Macy, he said the movie's animatronic Spinosaurus had 1,000 horsepower motor that the creature could turn its head at twice the force of gravity with the tip of its nose moving at the speed of more than 100 miles per hour. Why? Did we notice any of this? The Spinosaurus was the largest animatronic ever built. It was 20 feet high. Its length reached around 40 feet long, weighed 24,000 IBS, whatever, and was operated by hydraulics. This allowed it to operate with completely submerged, in completely submerged water. It ended just behind the hip, so any shot that shows more than this had to be computer generated. Sam Neill, as part of his contract, requested that the Australasian premiere of this movie take place in his hometown of Dunedin of New Zealand. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Dunedin. Yeah. I only know that because Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay, cool. Michael Crichton worked with screenwriters several days to brainstorm about a story, but left after several days when he could not come up with a satisfactory idea. Dude, they had so many red flags during this. Steven Spielberg initially devised a story which involved Dr. Alan Grant living on one of InGen's islands to study dinosaurs. Because he was not allowed in for research, he was living in a tree like Robinson Crusoe. However, Johnson rejected the idea because he couldn't imagine Dr. Grant returning to any island inhabited by dinosaurs after the events of the first movie, which he did in this fucking movie. Oh man, this is fucking... The trivia in this is like fuming for me. Jeff Goldblum confirmed in an interview that he was not invited back to reprise his role as Dr. Ian Malcolm. No shit. And we'll do one more. Sam Neill has come to this film's defense, saying that the film got unfair treatment from critics and thinks it's a pretty damn good film. Sam Neill, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here. You're wrong. You're just wrong. Go back to advertising land. I just need to catch my breath for a second, man. Because...
Hello, Sam? No, Sam, we're not going to change our mind. This wasn't a pretty damn good movie. See, now my host has hung himself because of you. Is this what you wanted? Goodbye.
It's all on Sam Neill. You killed me. So, now that we've gotten over that bit of trivia, which has fucking made me hate the movie even more because it just proved my point that this movie shouldn't have been made, we're going to get into where we rank this movie compared to the others. Alan, give your overall thoughts and tell me where you rank it.
Plot twist at the top.
Get fucked.
The bottom. I can't lie like that. This is bottom of the barrel. Shit.
I don't care about this movie enough to even put any effort to make the ranking screens. So, like, legit, it was hard for me to watch this movie again. It was hard for me to take notes. It was hard for me to, like, everything for this movie. This was the movie. This was the ranked and reviewed I've hated doing the most.
Oh wait, there was one good thing. Sorry, Alan. That's the only good thing.
It was the only good thing. They should have just made the whole movie a fucking comedy.
Yeah. I used to live with that dinosaur over and over again in different locations.
It would have been all right with it. It would have been okay. Now, to everyone watching at home, I am very sorry. And I hope that this episode hasn't been annoying because the whole episode we've just been slamming this movie into the ground. But if you watch this show, you know that if we like a movie, we talk positive about this movie. If there are aspects to a movie we don't like, we will talk about the aspects we don't like and why we don't like them, but still talk about the good points in the movies. This movie is on a whole nother level of bad. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, but if you think about it, the Spinosaurus was the biggest animatronic they've ever built, so that's pretty impressive when you watch it. Like, no, like, it was too big. It was too big for a shit movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I'm ranking it right at the bottom too, which means that me and Alan are both on the same page with these movies, which is, so far, Jurassic Park 1, Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park 3. And that's the order. And you know what? Anyone else says that's the wrong order, I know that it's an opinion, and opinions are subjective. But you know what? If you flat out think this movie's better than the second or the first, you're wrong. And I can't wait to see what you think of the newer ones. I've only seen...
Bear in mind here, this is coming from someone as well, in myself, that defended and is willing to die on the hill of Batman and Robin having saving graces.
Dude,
think about that.
When I enjoyed Batman and Robin more than a movie, you know it's fucking bad. So, I mean, I'm really excited to do the next movies because I've seen the first one, Jurassic World, like twice, I think, but it's been a while. And I've seen, what is it again? Fallen Kingdom. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I saw it at the movies, and I think I've watched it again when it came out again. And that was a long time ago. And we will get into more those movies again a little deeper, starting as of next week, where we leave the franchise of Jurassic Park and go into the new franchise, Jurassic World. Which, yeah, I'm excited for this because you haven't seen these, and I'm genuinely interested of what you think, because from memory, I'm going to end up putting these next movies probably above the last two. So above Lost World and 3. But again, we'll have to watch it and see. So yeah, I mean, anything else you want to say before we kind of head off? You wanted to talk about some things you got coming up for our podcast coming up this week, yeah?
Yes. We have launch day tomorrow of Doctor Strange, so we're going to be having some chitty chat, spoiler free in that, and I'm going to hopefully get shot as soon as possible, maybe by the weekend, early next week, an inclusive of spoiler chat about that too.
Well, I'm excited for those pieces of content. I'm meant to be going to see Doctor Strange with you tomorrow, but I am still not sure if I'm going to be able to technically make it or not. I haven't been very well this week. I've actually really felt really shit. So I'm going to try and make it, but if not, I will definitely be on the episode to host it with you and kind of ask you about it and talk to you about it. I'm actually interested in watching No Way Home, Spider-Man.
Yes.
I was reading up an article on it today, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of in the mood for Spider-Man again right now. So, like, yeah, I'm thinking of watching that. Does that have much tie? I know Doctor Strange is a major part in that fucking movie from the trailers and things. So, like, will that story tie much into the new Doctor Strange, do you think?
I think so. I think that's going to have a big factor of this movie. Maybe not the entire thing, but that and WandaVision are going to have some pretty key components for this movie, I think.
How much do you think it matters to watch the original Doctor Strange and the sequel? Is it that have they made one or two? It's one movie, yeah?
That's right, yeah.
And this is the second. How much? I've seen the first one, but it was such a long time ago, bro. And yeah, I thought that was a great movie, but I mainly liked it because of like how effective the super effects, like special effects were. Like they were fucking awesome. Like it was really well done. I don't know, like
as long as you have an idea of who Doctor Strange is, not super crucial, you could go back to it. Like you could even, seeing as you've already seen it as well, you could. There are YouTube videos out there. The whole before you see this movie, the journey of Doctor Strange, you could watch through and pretty much be up to speed enough to get the crux and still enjoy the movie.
all right, cool. Well, we'll talk about this off the podcast, obviously. But yeah, so everyone stay tuned for that. That'll be coming this week. Tomorrow we have another episode of Louder Pop Culture Podcast going live tomorrow night. And on Friday we have another episode of Loud and Alternative Music Podcast coming up. So we got a lot of content coming up for you. And remember, next week we are doing Jurassic World. And we're not far off now from we're about 4 weeks away from Jurassic World Dominion. So it's kind of come up quicker than I thought, slower than I thought it would with the timing. We could have probably fit more Batman episodes in, but it would have been weird because I think we would have only been able to fit Batman Begins and Dark Knight in, and then would have had to start Jurassic World. So it just makes more sense that we come back to Batman with the Dark Knight trilogy and we're able to do all three in a row rather than it being all over the fucking shop. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. So again, this has been Ranked and Reviewed. Remember to like, subscribe, and share if you haven't, because, I mean, it would help us a lot. And we are so close to our 200 subscription goal, which we don't have a goal for that set. Like, there's going to be no winner of a prize or something like that, like I was at last sub goal. But our next sub goal will be 250, I believe. I'm wondering if we should change that or not, but that's something we will discuss. And yeah, please go like the video, like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel because we're nearly at 200, and that's a big deal. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. Me and Alan really appreciate it. And is there anything else you want to say before we head out, Alan?
No, that's about. Yeah, no.
I want to say one more thing. Raptors. All right, I'm your host, Tomye West, and joining me as always has been my co-host, ALANNIS Maximus. And we will see you next time. Thanks. Stay loud.